I understand you might have come close this offseason to considering going back to managing. How close were you? Baseball, back to Nashville.
Well, I got to be careful with that one because, I'm employed. All I said was,
We're bringing baseball to Nashville. Yeah.
At some point, each league has 15 teams, and 16 makes sense. So there's talk of expansion of 2 teams. They're also talking about having to relocate a franchise, and they're looking at different candidates. One of the places where I've met the people is Nashville, partly because of ARF. We've had, the show we do in January. Trace Adkins is coming. We've had incredible country music support. So I'm a great believer in what happens in Nashville, and I've seen them grow. If something happens where there's there's an expansion possibility, I think they would be, to me, an outstanding candidate. So I voiced that, but this is where it's very important. I don't do anything, not anything. I'm not involved in any meeting. I don't go anywhere where I'm actively involved with them. I'm just a support. I'm a believer in what they do.
How did the Angels deal come about?
Well, I had one more year. I had one more year with the Red Sox, and they would like me to come back. The difficulty of coast to coast. I did for 2 years. Your family is here, and you're training in Florida. You don't ever get back. These 2 teams asked permission, and the Red Sox said, we'd like you to stay, but we're going to grant permission. The Angels situation, I have great respect for Artie Moreno and that team. There's a little extra responsibility as far as the advising part, and so I'm very fortunate that it worked out.
Now you're reunited with Albert Pujols.
I called him, my baby boy.
What did he say?
Well, he was happy. I keep going back to it. We're family. Albert's like a son. I said it. It's not the wins, man. The wins happen. Relationships are what you live with.
You said the worst part about being upstairs now as an executive is the game starts and there's nothing you can do, and it's a horrific feeling.
Torture.
Describe that.
Torture. It's horrific. Which is worse, horrific or torture? I think torture. When you manage 5,000 games, you always feel like you have a responsibility. Maybe there's something you or the coaching staff can do to help put the players in a position to win a game. When you're upstairs, you can see the game, and you may have that idea, and you can't do anything. And not going to manage, and I'm not ready to leave the game. So you sit up there and you take the torture.
Somebody close to you told me you miss managing. How true?
I missed the immediacy of the game. I missed the whole thing of pulling the team together from day one, making them a true brotherhood, competing to see if you can get to October and see how far you can get. I miss that. So I miss the competition, but I don't miss it so much that I want to go back.
I understand you might have come close this offseason to considering going back to managing. Why'd you decide against it?
It's not your age that dictates whether you should manage. We had a very proactive coaching staff, great coaches that really embraced information. We believe in its place. And what's happened is the game is being overwhelmed by percentages and numbers. And the value of the coaches, scouts, and observational analytics, you watch and you see, it's being disrespected. So the game is really not as entertaining right now. Percentages don't take into account the head, the heart, and the guts of a player that day. So there are times you say, man, I'd like to get back and help correct the balance. That's sometimes after you watch against a man, I'd like to get back because I know that playing the game correctly, you'll win more than what they're doing now. But I'm not managing, so it's not strong enough to where I go back.
How close were you?
Put it this way, pitching coach Dave Duncan, greatest pitching coach in the history of the game. He's in Tucson. And I kind of ran it by, hey, Duncan, you want to come back? He said, I can't. If Duncan had said yes, then it would be possible. But Dunk said no. If he had come back, I'd have probably asked Arizona, let me take Dave McKay. Dave Duncan and I were together 29 years. McKay and I were 26. I would need that supporting cast like I always had. But I mean, I wasn't a good enough manager to do it without them.
Tony admitted he was close to coming back to manage this offseason. He called Duncan, and if Duncan was in, he would have gone back. What do you think the likelihood is he goes back to managing at some point again?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, we've talked about it a little bit. And the way I would describe it is, it would depend upon his health. And because he has the knowledge and he has the communication skills to handle the game. And you see Jack McKeon went back a few years ago, managed till he was 80. They won a world championship with him. But I think what is challenging for somebody like Tony and Jim Leland when he stepped away at that is the off-field stuff. It's the travel. It's all that's involved in that. It's dealing with all the other issues, the media issues, the little things that take place. He's had a bad hip. It's been hard for him, but I know he's having surgery. And I think if he came back and that felt good and he was able to move around, it wouldn't surprise me if he took an opportunity for another year at some point.
Yes or no?
I would say no.
Okay.
Best guess, but it wouldn't shock me.
Managing, it just takes an awful lot out of you. And there's nothing else for him to accomplish. He's won 3 World Series, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And so, there's no reason to go back to managing and have to try to deal with people who are 22 years old when you're 75 years old.
What do you think the chances are of ever seeing Tony managing again?
Well, I know he'll always be a manager in his mind. And I know he was, if the opportunity presented itself, the right opportunity, he would take the challenge, because that's what he was all about. The thing that always sort of put a cold blanket on, or was always really the long grind, 7 months, every single day. It's something that really takes a lot out of you. But Tony still has that in the back of his mind, and it does not surprise me that he was always tempted to jump again.
Best guess on your end, yes or no, in terms of ever seeing him manage?
No.
I think if Dunk doesn't come back, he's not coming back. I think that's very true. But I don't know, I think he still has that desire, that he's very competitive. Everything he does, he's very competitive, and I know it really bothers him to watch a game these days, because he sees things that are happening that he has no control over anymore. When he was down in the dugout, he could control things and could change things if he wanted to, and I think he misses that. I think he misses the competition, and he was so good at what he did. But I don't know, I think it'd be tough to come back today. The game's changed a lot since he last managed, so.